going on, y'all? Corporate Like Entertainment. I'm your host, Phil Roberts.
I'm Paul.
I'm Manny.
I'm Kika.
It's lit. So this episode is about DMX. The rise and fall of DMX. He had a crazy fucking run. Crazy era. We're going to start from the beginning. He originally got signed in '94 to Rough House in Columbia.
Right.
But the singles he dropped wasn't enough mainstream success or attention. So from there, he was on guest appearances with Mike Geronimo's first album. He had a song with Jay-Z, DMX, Mike Geronimo, and who's the last one? Ja Rule.
Yeah, right.
So that kind of started his little buzz, because those are big artists. Well, not at the time, Jay-Z was and Mike Geronimo.
Right.
But and also before that, he was in Unsigned Hype.
Unsigned Hype is what, that's what got him the real notice.
I think so too. Also, the other guest appearance was LL Cool J's 4321.
Right.
And Mace's 24 Hours. Like
right.
Classic songs. You know what I mean?
Right.
So.
I'm glad you backed up there.
yeah, man. Classic songs.
It was a classic.
What?
Harlem World.
I gotta listen to it again. What you think? Harlem World, Mace?
Yeah.
Really? I gotta listen again.
Yeah.
It was.
Let me put it in my. Hold on.
Oh, you're in your playlist?
Yeah, I gotta put it in my phone.
No one's gonna take you seriously with Mace in your playlist. Let's start with that.
I gotta. Let me see.
I just kidding with classic, but it was a dope album though.
Yeah, it was
I don't
dope.
know, man.
I gotta listen. I
don't know. Whatever. It's Mace.
Yeah, but back to DMX, man. Nigga started smoking crack at 14. Kind of fucked. I mean, 14. Right. I can see 21.
He had a really sad childhood.
Yeah.
His mom had a rotating schedule of men that were in and out of the house, and they beat the crap out of him, and it just wasn't good. It was not a good life.
Yeah, that's true. That kind of.
So he started ripping and running the streets.
Right.
Just to get away from it and get away from church and that kind of stuff, and just ran with the wrong people like a 14-year-old kid.
Right. Yeah, that's true. So it kind of coincides. It makes sense. Troubled childhood, drugs, some type of dual diagnosis or something like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Oh wait, dual diagnosis?
Mm-hmm.
Oh. Big term.
Smart, huh?
I know, wow. On a DSM-4 or a 5.
5. See?
Yeah, I don't know what y'all talking about, but yeah.
Social works out.
Or you've seen too many therapists.
Combination of both.
Both, yes.
But, that's him, man.
Right.
First, well.
He got signed in '92 to Columbia.
Right.
What, in '92?
'92, yeah. And Rough House was an offshoot of Columbia.
Okay, yeah. You're right about that, yeah. So, them guest appearances, Unsigned Hype.
And that was a big deal back in the day because that article was in the Source magazine.
Yeah, in the back.
The Source magazine was like that was the Bible.
Yeah, that's what we talked about.
Yeah, the whole
the main magazine.
If y'all
had an episode.
If y'all go back and check out the episode of the
look at
hip hop magazines, y'all can see that.
Facts. But everything led up to. People say it's a classic. I disagree. His first album. Ooh, I see that hedge. It's dark and hell is hot. 4 or 5, what? 6 times platinum.
Classic. It's a classic. He hit the ground running with that. First single, get at me, dog.
Amazing.
When you heard the start of that,
okay,
that was it.
The movie, it's like a movie,
right? That was it. That was
that alone right there.
Rough Rider
is one of the best songs. Like
that song still gets played to this day. Like at every.
It's played in the gym 45 million times. Let me tell you.
You can't go nowhere without hearing that song.
That'll get you. That'll get you.
That would be.
Yeah, I get you getting tired and hear that shit.
But not only did that song like basically jolt his career, it jolted the whole career of the Rough Riders.
Mainstream level.
It put the Rough Riders period on the map. Like the bike riding culture, the actual label. Like
I like that.
It was the start of all of that, just off one song from
his
this dude.
features was pretty phenomenal on that album.
Yeah, he had the locks. He had like that album was put together perfectly.
I don't know, man. I don't think it's a classic.
Man,
I don't.
Numbers wise.
Numbers wise,
It's a
it's a classic. Numbers wise,
No,
I'm not a number.
I think overall, because it was his first album, nobody thought the guy was gonna go multi-platinum.
That's true too.
And he did a lot that changed the culture too.
Changed the culture.
He did nothing. He did nothing on a commercial or mainstream scale to hit
I like that.
Exactly.
Right.
He didn't
So he
conform
gravitated towards.
Cause Def Jam didn't believe in him at all.
at all.
At all, and then they,
You still had
Bust him up in the head.
Jay-Z dropped Hard Knock Life that year.
yeah,
That surpassed Hard Knock
yeah,
Life.
Exactly.
yeah,
Numbers.
yeah. It did.
If we
yeah.
talking about numbers here.
I'm just not really a numbers guy. Cause let's go
No,
to say.
I'm just speaking about numbers because back in that time, the numbers really meant something. Towards this day where you got the people faking the streams and
Yeah.
all that getting numbers.
I mean, because that was
Because
physical hard
people
copies.
Physical,
Those were
yeah.
physically was buying.
Going to Best Buy and
You gotta
Target.
consider.
So for you to go platinum back in '98, that was an accomplishment.
You got-
Versus you going platinum now, that's
Right.
like streams and stuff.
Yeah.
You gotta consider the album impact wise too, because look at that era. Like you said, Hard Knock Life dropped. Everybody was rapping that.
Commercial.
Everybody was rapping that so-called
Yeah.
jiggy rap. The I got this and I got that
Commercial.
rap.
He brought the.
And he brought a whole different
Raw,
aspect
raw.
of
Yeah.
raw
hip
street,
hop, street hip hop,
raw street hip hop,
to the mainstream.
and it's oversold all of the other
Right,
stuff.
and he wasn't even trying.
And he didn't even conform at all to nothing. Like he didn't.
Everything he dropped from that album was instant hits. Rough Riders and That Me Dog, Pounds Going
Guys
Down.
going down.
Like niggas done started, so that shit was hard as fuck. It wasn't a hit because he didn't put it out on the radio, but that shit was hard. Like that. It's a hard album.
My favorite
Man,
song.
that album.
It's a hard album.
As
I don't
much
think
as you
it's
want to fight it
classic,
as it
It's
is,
a
man.
I
classic.
think it's a
man.
classic.
As much as
Cause I don't think it's
fight it.
lyrically there. I don't think it was lyrically complete.
Oh, wow.
It's not. You can name me some bars off of it. You really can't, can you?
You can
I
like.
mean,
Look
that
at me.
song, that album is so.
I give it class because of the impact. But then we had an argument if you're going off impact. Nelly's first album was a classic. If you're going off impact, right? You can say they have about the same damn impact because Nelly came left field. No one expected Nelly. Am I right or wrong?
Oh hell no.
No one is.
Nobody.
Everybody singing country grammar and all this shit.
Yeah.
I absolutely hate it.
Yeah, I hated
I
that
would.
nigga. You see what I'm saying? But it's, you can't
But you can't. I know you can't base it off impact alone.
But the thing about
it was-
the impact with DMX is totally different from the impact of Nelly.
How so?
Mainstream.
Yeah.
He got the masses that gravitated and bought his albums wasn't the same as DMX.
So
And you gotta
DMX was grassroots driven. Like it was
Yeah.
strictly. These were fans that were driving the numbers. They were fans that were demanding it.
Right.
This was not like any marketing. Let's go for
yeah,
it
And
from a corporate level.
and
that's true. That's
From
true.
the
Nelly was
aspect of-
straight commercial.
yeah, and from an aspect of like the impact, you gotta look at DMX's core and everything. Like that's not something that should be marketed and should be
Right.
pushed out like
Yeah,
Especially-
that.
'cause they sell the album a couple
And
times.
And then
they
you
gotta
got
put it out.
right, and then you got
Content
Nelly.
is dark.
Yeah, you got
Yeah.
you got Nelly who was sing-songy, real catchy.
Nursery rhyme.
Nurse.
So I guess you can do the comparison of just throw this out there. Nelly will be Drake back then.
Yeah.
DMX will be, we'll say J. Cole, Kendrick. Would you agree? Because of the fan
I'll go
base.
Kendrick.
Open
Yeah, I would
because
too.
Nelly, Drake, everyone loves them. Everyone don't care for Kendrick, but we know he's.
You know he's
He's
how
solid.
good he
Same
is.
with
You know,
DMX.
he can
People
produce.
knew he
You
was
know
gonna
how good
be,
he is, and
You know what I'm saying?
he spearheaded his team.
DMX.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Rough Riders wouldn't really exist without DMX.
That's true.
I agree with you on that.
You can debate that all you want, bro.
Yeah, I'm thinking like, yeah, maybe you're right.
It
Maybe
is
you're right.
facts.
Yeah, maybe you're right.
That's
But
fact.
as far as like the album production, Dane Grease, Gotti, and Swiss Beats, Dane Grease handled a majority of it, and the dude PK from the Rough Riders.
At that time, that was when
Ice Pick.
Swiss was starting
Yeah,
to
Ice
emerge.
Pick, yeah.
Yeah.
Because Swiss
Rest in peace, Ice Pick.
Beats had a run where he was the best producer, hands down.
He my favorite.
And that's when he was starting to emerge. And him working with DMX at the start of his career at the same time, it was like a match made in heaven.
Yeah.
Because from there, the albums got better, the sound got
the
better.
the two sounds was just perfect.
Perfect pair, yeah.
So with that being said, classic.
To me, it's
Classic.
a classic.
Yeah.
Speaking of it,
Definitely.
Speaking of that
I don't
album,
know.
he actually. What about the 2 albums in 1 year?
I'm about to get into that. We about to get into DMX
Multi-platinum on both.
dropped it's hot and hella. What is it? It's dark and hella hot.
Flesh
In
and
February,
Flesh.
right?
Yep.
And then Flesh My Flesh in December 28th.
Yeah.
December 28th, 98. And to get into that, I feel that's better than the first album. That's my personal opinion.
I feel like you
could tell by Flesh of My Flesh that he had matured. Like
yes.
His
short amount of time.
Sound changed. Lyrically, he got stronger. He had more of, I think, an identity of who he knew who he was at that point.
Right.
He was still trying to figure himself out. I think for a freshman album, it did a great job. But by the second and third album, especially by Flesh of My Flesh, he knew what he was going for, who he was. He knew his sound. He knew what he wanted to accomplish by that.
Right.
I like that, yeah.
And I mean, you had stated earlier, like, it was dark. A lot of everything that he had, his titles are some reference to darkness.
Yeah.
That, just kind of goes with his theme.
His persona.
Yeah, his persona.
Right. I think with that album, like you said, he started to shape his own, like, sound with that, and he was starting to, I think that album he started to get a little more versatile with the types of songs. Like,
okay,
with the first album, it was raw, it was uncut, it was this is what it is. Mm-hmm. The second album, it started to move a little more towards just a little bit. Yeah. Like, hey, I can do these kind of songs too. I can do this and that. But you still got that core DMX, and his whole career, he never deterred from DMX. He ain't never do nothing too crazy out of the box and nothing like that.
Yeah.
But this album, the Flesh of My Flesh, showed a little more versatility, and I think the content was there, the production was there.
I mean, the production was handled solely by Swiss, and Dane Grease did maybe a track or two. The rest of it was Swiss.
It just was. I don't know. It was all around dope album, man.
And I think that's where, like Jessica said, he developed more. I think Swiss was help. I think they was really working together to make that album, because Swiss did maybe 13, 14 other tracks.
Right.
You know what I mean? And again, it's 2 albums in 1 year. He's the only rapper to ever do that. Technically, the first one was Tupac. He dropped Machiavelli and then he dropped All Eyes on Me, but it's under 2 different names.
Right.
But technically, he's the first rapper.
I still think I think it was darker. In my opinion, I think it was darker than his first album.
I agree with you, because some of the lyrics.
A lot of the lyrics.
He's tripping, man.
There was a lot of spirituality in that album too. He also had a feature with Marilyn Manson too. So.
Right.
Yeah. Was that the Omen song?
Yeah. So he got a lot of.
He's got a lot of weird stuff. He did.
No, he got a lot of backlash behind that.
Yeah, he did. I forgot about that.
Remember at that time, that's when the whole Marilyn Manson controversy of him worshiping the devil and all that stuff.
And then he was talking. It tied into his lyrics because he was talking about like having sex with prostitutes. And
right.
Multiple.
Having sex with a corpse.
Yeah, so it's like
shit is wild.
And then he said it in the first.
Me off on the,
even on the first album, he mentioned several times that he sold his soul to the devil.
Yeah.
Like, so I mean.
I think the first one was darker than the second one, but I can see what you guys said. The second one was darker.
The second one definitely.
You can't really argue.
It's a little bit darker.
Yeah. So we can get into, and then after that, he was in the movie Belly.
No, what about the Rough Riders Run?
Yeah, we're gonna get to the Belly then. Yeah.
But mind you, that same year when he had both of those albums, he had caught a weapons case and an animal cruelty case at the same time. So like you having all this success, you catching these cases and mind you dope. Right, you smoking dope and battling those demons too.
Yeah. And like all that, man. You couldn't.
That's strong. He was strong. He was strong.
Like I was saying,
that's for the guy.
Like I was saying,
that's
that
dude God,
is he's probably one of the most successful crackheads ever.
Yeah. And then his acting.
That's when it started.
Belly and then all the other ones, like they wasn't bad movies.
That's a hip hop classic.
Yeah, it is.
He made great movies.
One of my favorite movies, for real.
It is.
He made great movies, not just no bullshit. They was good movies. Credit to the Grave, Romeo Must Die, and then that Rough Riders, Exit Wounds, and then the Rough Riders era. They had a good little run.
That Rough Riders run was nuts.
Yeah, and he was the lead man. And it showcased everybody else.
Yeah.
That Rough Riders run was fucking. Because basically like Rough Riders versus Rockefeller at one point.
That's basically.
You know what I mean?
And then that turned into, the tour, that Rough Rider Cash Money tour and all that. They made a lot of money.
Yeah, I went to that.
They made a lot of money off of that.
Hell no.
No,
I ain't had no business being
No,
there.
but the tour made headlines. I mean, I remember MTV. They followed them for like 3 or 4 tour stops. Yeah. It was crazy.
I'm nuts, man.
I was in junior high school.
Yeah.
Shout out to the Rough Riders.
Shout out to Gallagher.
Hey, shout out to Chelsea and Gallagher.
Facts.
Classic school.
Yeah, good old times. Good old times.
Man, I still have pictures to this day of the Rough Riders Cash Money tour.
That's dope. That's dope.
That is dope.
My sister took some pictures with Eve and stuff like that. She got pictures and everything still from to this day.
Right.
That's crazy.
So that's the best concert I ever been to.
For real?
Yeah, and I still remember it like it was yesterday.
That was all, man, that should have been lit.
Right.
Because them two was the hottest in the
in the
game.
Yeah. Both them both labels was nuts.
The hottest.
Yeah. And we can move into his third album,
which was the very next year.
Yeah, 99.
That's nuts. You have 2 number ones and then you go straight to the
albums in 2 years.
Yeah.
But not only that, 3 albums in 2 years and all 3 of them number 1
and multi-platinum.
Like that
was X.
That just shows that his run was.
That was a great album.
I think he had. It's his most lyrical album. Definitely his most lyrical album.
So I think socially conscious. I think that was like the best one. He also talked about a lot of industry stuff on that album.
He did. And I think at that time too, I think that's when his like drug addiction was the worst. But the content on that album was probably one of the best. And he had some of his biggest hits and longest lasting hits from that album.
Yeah.
Party Up was on there.
What these bitches
want. Like those songs, like Party Up is another one of them songs, just like
that's
the Rough Riders
anthem.
You probably hear Party Up more than you hear the Rough Riders anthem. You hear that song at weddings and stuff like that. Like,
yeah, I like that.
Like,
was that my wedding?
I think so.
Who was drunk?
I can't remember. I don't know what music was played, but yeah, like he had. I don't know that, and then at the same time, that's when Romeo Must Die was out.
Yeah.
So like at that point, that was when he was at the absolute height of his career. Like you couldn't turn on the TV without seeing DMX, and this is a grimy street dude that raps about grimy street stuff.
He was a great actor too.
Right.
Yeah.
Grimy street dude that raps about grimy street stuff, never changed it or switched up his image, but still was at the height.
Right. Yeah.
And a household name at that point.
What you think about the album, Jessica?
Like you said, Party Up is still one of the songs. Like
you still listen to it? You dance to it?
This is the shit I have to deal with all the time. But I mean that was one of his best albums. It went 6 times platinum.
Right.
Yeah.
A lot of the other stuff was going 2, 3, 4 times, which still isn't bad.
It still ain't bad,
I mean, his first one went 6 times platinum, and this one, again, it goes to show the longevity of his career. You know, usually you see, somebody going platinum that high, or first or second. Not a 3rd, 4th, or 5th.
He went almost 20 times platinum in 3 albums.
And then,
that's retarded.
And then normally by that time you get the question of what else does this person have to rap about.
He was just an interesting figure.
But I think with him,
I like that. He was interesting.
But what kept him interesting is you see from starting at the first album, you see he throwing it out at there. This is what I'm dealing with. This is what I'm battling with.
He had his demons.
I got my demons here, but I'm still trying to keep my relationship with God. And each album, you see
that prayer is enjoying.
Yeah, he keep maintaining that. Mm-hmm. And then when they got to and then there's X, it still was there. So you still intrigued. You still trying to figure out.
That's why I think he really related to a lot of people.
Yeah.
Because that wasn't talked about in rap. Don't you know, like the whole PTSD?
Nobody talks about that.
Like the mental illness. He talked about that. He touched a lot on that, and a lot of rappers didn't touch base on that. And I think it was relatable to a lot of fans, which like drew that audience even bigger.
Right.
I like you said that because it's like I'm gonna use.
He suffered from a lot of mental.
Mental depression. I'm gonna use Gucci Man. People like he's so hard, but everyone can relate. The hustling, trap, Jeezy. I think he's he's an average rapper.
No, that's pretty bad.
Yeah, I'm just being nice. He's pretty bad.
I don't think he that
bad. No, he got better. He got better.
He ain't that bad.
But I think you can compare that because
people
fuck with Gucci heavy. Everyone knows Gucci song. I don't know a Gucci song. Everyone knows Gucci. No, everyone knows Gucci, and I don't.
He never was that bad. It's just.
What is it?
Never mind.
Yeah, I'll agree. Don't listen to
Hey, there you go.
I don't know that shit. I don't know. I don't fuck with Gucci.
Like really?
I don't know it. I don't fuck with him. But that goes to show that people can relate to him. Same with DMX. Just everyone gravitated to DMX.
He brought to the world that type of energy. To the point where it was making people comfortable.
Yeah.
Darkness. Like there wasn't really a lot of rappers.
Right.
I think like Tupac. You can Scarface. Them the only rappers that I really can think of.
Yeah, and being that transparent with your feelings like that, like you were saying, that's unheard of around that time. Like that. And he did it not only with that, with his feelings, but with his spirituality too.
That's why I was saying Pac was probably like the thing before that.
Right.
So
you can see that. Yeah, I can see that.
I think the one thing that we keep talking about is his past is definitely present. The demons that he's dealt with. He openly talked about issues with his wife, being married. He didn't put that, he was open about that. But he took all that stuff that was going on and he made himself an entertainer. Right. Which at that point in time, the East Coast didn't have an entertainer. It was Jay-Z was mainstream.
They
were rappers, but they weren't entertainers. They weren't there telling a story and capturing their crowd to entertain them, so that they would go out and have every single album be a multi.
Right.
I like that.
I also argue with you about this a lot. I feel like at that 98 to like 2003 run, I think he was the best rapper in the game.
Listen, I don't want to piggyback, but I agree with you on that.
With all this being said, what other rapper done that?
Like a run like that?
Yes.
Yeah.
His in that present. Well, kind of. I mean, 50 is one of them.
2001.
Yeah, but we all know that
you can't name.
We all know that 50 rap wise wasn't.
You don't think Jay-Z had a run?
Movies.
We talking. Total music?
Total run.
Jay-Z just did music, so DMX had movies. Like him in the movies was really good. So
they had their hands in everything. The dirt bike movement, the motorcycle movement. They even had a clothing line that was a little successful.
It made money.
It wasn't Rockaware or nothing like that, but it did. It had a little bit of ground, but it didn't do anything.
Well, he took a street brand and he did that. He made it commercial. He made it not only himself as an entertainer. The name DMX became associated with Rough Riders, street life. I mean, it brought to the mainstream, to suburbia, like what is the bike life? What is the we didn't know what Rough Riders was. I mean, forever. I mean, what were the 2 R's on Eve's boobs? It took me forever to figure that out, But I mean, it took that kind of things that would have normally not been mainstream, brought it to the mainstream so that everything was a brand and understood, and that it was entertainment too.
Right. I think as far as like
best run, get mad.
As far as runs, he probably had one of the best.
I think it's one of the best.
I mean, Tupac run was very phenomenal.
And then
All Eyes on Me, back in Me Against the World, All Eyes on Me.
Me Against the World.
Gotta revisit
Tupac
that.
was making the Juice movie, the movies and all that. I could kind of.
That's
why I kind of compare their careers a little bit.
Right. And they both wasn't super lyrical. You can feel their pain. The runs.
I hate when people say Tupac wasn't lyrical.
He wasn't. He was just. We're gonna stop right there. We're gonna get off with the Tupac.
While we on the break, never mind. That's a whole nother.
You can't argue with Phil.
Tupac.
So he was super lyrical.
Nobody.
He had his times when he
was lyrical.
I didn't say
he was lyrical, but he wasn't like you can't put him in on top 10 lyricists list
because that wasn't his.
I know. Same with DMX.
That wasn't his agenda.
You more lyrical than Pac?
And is J. Cole
you don't think
the best
so?
rapper right now? Yes or no?
No.
What?
I don't think so. J. Cole lyrics is pretty bad at times.
So was Pac.
It got better though. I was talking about the run.
The run.
The light went off.
I thought it was kind of like. I thought it was kind of like a little similar, a little bit. It's not similar, but I thought it coincided with each other.
It was similar a lot, but just Yeah, cause you can say it's very similar because of the music and the movies aspect, and just being a household name, being talked about everywhere.
Yeah, I like that. I ain't think about it as deeply, but I do. I can't see that. Movies, darkness, the battles.
Right.
Like I do see that. Right. It's a good comparison. Most people back in the day be like, "No, you crazy as fuck." But looking back at it,
I think a lot of people do kind of compare them to.
You think so? Now I think they do now, but back then,
I thought back then too. What do you think about that? Between like the two of them, do you think that they was similar, or do you think that it was just a reach, or
kind of hard to say?
I think it's hard to say because while they were different, there was some similarities between the two, but I don't think the popularity that they have now was what they had then, to be honest. If you were like more people were talking about it now, I guess maybe because we're older, maybe because there's something to compare, but maybe back in the day,
I
didn't have that kind of
debate or discussion.
Right.
I just like I don't want to keep on talking about Tupac because this is not about Tupac, but Tupac, he is on a whole different level when it comes to like impact.
Yeah.
As far as the game.
Okay.
So I just wanted to keep it similar as far as, you know, the movie career popping off and then the success early on after when he was dropping his music.
Right.
How he was able to get these movie deals and stuff like that, because Tupac did the same thing. Mm-hmm. But like DMX, he always been like a very interesting like figure in like hip hop, just because of the aspect of like the darkness. I think he was a little unpredictable. Well,
I mean, that goes back to he was diagnosed with bipolar.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's gonna go. You know, it goes back to.
And then the drug abuse.
That's a lot. He's like just a mixing pot of just like.
He was a mess.
Crazy.
In reality,
It's
amazing that he didn't harm anyone.
And just constantly getting in trouble.
He was a very spiritual person with all that being said about the dark music, because he always kind of put God.
I mean, look at everything. Flesh of my flesh, blood of my blood. It's, you know, first album. Everything has a reference to good and evil, to hell, heaven. There's always a reference of good versus evil with him. And that just, again, goes to show the constant struggle that he had, you know, growing up. He was Jehovah's Witness growing up, but he really didn't practice it.
Right.
You know, going back to, again, crack cocaine at 14, I mean, getting arrested. And so, I mean, he's got a lot of duality within him. And then going back to the duality of his spirituality, I mean, so, I mean, he was a man who I think in reality was stuck. He was in pain. Yeah. I think in reality,
I mean, in the music, you can kind of see that, like the Slippin' song.
Yeah, that pretty much summed up.
Yeah, he pretty much summed up a lot. He summed up his whole life kind of in that song.
Did he ever have like a suicide attempt? I don't remember.
He did talk
in the hotel room, but they said it was an asthma attack. But he was locked in the hotel room for like 10 days.
For 10 days, and he was on a real bad drug binge. That like his wife thinks that he was trying to like kill himself, like overdose and kill himself.
Touched on that on a couple of songs. I mean, the Slippin' one, he
indirectly
was kind of giving hints towards like that.
Right.
So, and then he had the dog that he had, Boomer.
Yeah.
Right.
That dog meant a whole lot to him, and he lost a part of himself when he lost that dog. He also talked about it in a couple of records too. On the albums.
So we're gonna get on to what is fourth album, The Great Depression.
Yeah.
My personal favorite album of his. Between that and Flesh of My Flesh, those are my two favorite albums by him. Again, it's more. I think this one's more personal, and lyrically he stepped up on this album to me, and the production was handled by Swiss, Dame, and Black Keys, Ice Pit, and it's my personal favorite song.
And in my opinion, and I was always a DMX fan. I think this was the start of the decline.
Like mainstream wise decline, or like
just musically. This album didn't grab me like all the other albums did. Yeah, not saying. Listen, I liked the album, but it didn't. It didn't hit me. It didn't hit me like the previous three albums.
I think it's harder.
But even with all that, even with all that, it still debuted at number one again.
98, 2 albums. 99, right. 1 album.
Right.
2001, he takes a break. Whatever he said to me.
He was doing.
It wasn't so much of a break. It was that and legal issues.
Yeah.
Like, but.
I mean, in 5 years, he's done 4 albums.
It's still.
I think this is my favorite.
It still was a #1 album again. Like he's still on that run. Like,
I mean, he dropped the 2 albums and the Belly all.
I don't think it declined. Like songs like, I want to play it real quick.
Like it's just my personal opinion.
This shit was hard as fuck. I don't see it like this and then this one.
Right here,
yeah, that's my shit. Like,
he actually throws shots at Jay-Z on that.
Yeah, but that's and then that prayer song, "A Minute for Your Son." Like,
I think it's just my personal take, but like out of his best work, I think you could basically flip a coin out of them first 3 albums on which one was like his best. I think I think, and I'm not saying this album was bad, but this was the start of the decline, in my opinion. Like, you know how you get to that peak,
I know where it went.
I disagree with you.
I do too. I know where the decline is at.
I think the next one was the decline.
Let's focus on this one real quick. The next one,
was the decline. That was when he was on that slope. Great Depression.
It didn't have the commercial success that it did. It only went triple platinum, but it did debut at #1, just like the other one.
Only triple platinum.
Only triple platinum. Yeah. I mean,
that's nuts. Right?
That's a disappointing.
Triple platinum is bad for DMX. That's nuts.
I guess we can get to the grand champ. It was just a mediocre album. He was out of his element. The production was different. Swiss on one song, No ID, Kanye West, Blaze,
I like that. That We In Here song. That shit was hard as fuck.
Okay, yeah.
I kind of like.
Cause he went back to DMX on that song.
Yeah.
I don't know if you want to go back into that.
I kind of like him hearing him on different producers, but it was kind of a stretch. I do, because listen, you got 4 straight albums of the same sounding DMX. You gotta sprinkle it.
I mean, you can hear it. You can hear it in the production on it. That's DMX. DMX.
You gotta mix it up some. You know what I'm saying? People gonna get tired of it. You talking about like a 6-7 year run of the same music.
But it was doing well. If the formula ain't broke, why fix it?
That's true.
That one?
Yeah, that was pretty good. But
I ain't like that song. It was
alright.
You listen to that 3rd verse of that shit? Let's play it. I want to play it. Or either the 1st or the 3rd, because I'm like, yeah, this nigga on some. Hold on, man. Go ahead.
I want to see something real quick.
The shit he was talking about, yeah, this nigga, he high as fuck.
Yeah.
He's high as fuck.
I'm trying to go to.
But you know, it's another thing that you got to look at throughout his career. He had.
Hold on, one second.
I think he was talking about as far as like the industry. Yeah.
Alright, hold on. I think
That wasn't it was on the next album.
it's on Grand Champ.
Grand Champ.
Oh, I thought we were talking about because another album.
Like, it's just, I'm listening like, what the fuck is he talking about? Like, what is, like, that album, that Grand Champ album, it was just all over the place. That was hard.
I just think I don't discredit the grunge. It was a start. It was a decline for sure, but
definitely.
I think what it was is he probably like you doing the same thing for so long, and
you want to try something different.
Yeah, like people gonna get tired of. How many songs can DMX and Swizz Beatz make together? Like
I think a lot.
Yeah, but people gonna eventually start getting tired of it. You know what I'm saying? You getting the same formula all the time.
It was.
You gotta kind of shake it up.
What, 3 albums? 4? It worked.
And look at the time era too. Grand Champ came out in what year?
03?
Was it 03?
I don't know. 03, I think.
I'm gonna say it was like 03. So music around him was changing a little bit different. This ain't 96 no more. This ain't 98. This ain't the Get At Me Dog era no more. You know, you gotta kind of move with the time some. So maybe.
Oh no, the Year of the Dog again. He had this track right here. This was hard right
here. Yeah.
I don't know. That gave me that made me think like, oh shit.
Yeah.
What are you talking about? But the album overall is not.
Yeah, again, we need to cross out them too because no one, Grand Chat wasn't that good to me. It was mediocre, like you said, the decline.
Right.
Yeah.
His last couple albums were, I mean, I think subpar.
I just think he was at that point he was on the deep end. Just in a horrible space. I think with like the legend that he like built up, I always thought like if he would have kept his mind clear and a clear head, I think he could have been one of them rappers that could have been very, very old, dropping like great music. Yes.
I
just wasn't in the right mind space for it.
I don't know because of his content, if it would have how long it would have lasted.
But his content lasts from the test of time because everybody is going through that on a day-to-day basis. That type of mental like.
Yeah, but do you want to hear a whole album of prayer and type songs?
No, I always thought he would have kept switching it up a little bit.
I think that's what he attempted to do with Grand Champ, was switch it up some, and it just didn't grasp.
Yeah.
So that's why I don't know how long his career would have lasted musically, but the man was so talented that in other avenues he could have probably been still doing movies right now, still doing blockbuster
money
movies.
Good.
You know what I'm saying?
He was highly touted as a very good actor. So
and like I think music wise, I mean we see where he's at, where his career is. Movie wise, that kind of died down because Hollywood is very fickle. Mm-hmm. They like you when you hot. When you're not, you can't even get a commercial. Mm-hmm. And then you go from that, and then you tie in all the constant his legal troubles and rap sheet is ridiculous, and it's still growing to this day. Like he just had a tax fraud case.
Tax evasion, just got out of jail.
Just got out of jail.
Yeah.
But one bright side is he's embarking on a tour right now. Like it's still people that want to.
All that being said, this man has still been able to keep his head above water.
Still has fans and is still highly respected. Mind you, they know his drug problems and all that. He's still highly respected.
He never, you know what I respect about him? He never hid anything from the public.
Never.
What do you rate his career at? Like, what do you think overall of him as a rapper?
I think overall as a rapper, for how he changed the New York music scene and how he changed East Coast, and what we heard coming out, which was different. Because you think about, I mean, Pac was hard for that era, and he came with that same kind of energy and that same kind of message and stuff that he talked about that West Coast, East Coast could talk about too.
Yeah.
I think as a talent, I mean, what he brought to the forefront of the street culture for the bike culture.
Right.
I mean, one of the ones, Eve was one of the greatest, I think, female rappers that we've seen come out in a long time.
He kind of put her
on the map. Yeah. A lot of people don't know he's got a Cleveland connection. His album in 2012 that he dropped was Undisputed, I think it was. Mm-hmm. Yeah, by that time, MGK was coming around, and MGK was on that project with him.
Right.
You know, so I mean,
like that. Yeah.
You know, he's got ties and he's brought some really raw talent to the front. Yeah, he's a hot, like, personally, he's a mess. He's a mess with all the legal stuff. I would have liked to have seen, if he got his shit together, what would it have looked like?
Yeah, that's what I was saying.
You know, like what impact could it have been when he got to act with Aaliyah? I mean, in one of the greatest movies that
I love that movie.
in Jet Li, you know. So I mean,
Steven Seagal. Like,
he's entertaining to watch. I mean, it's like you want to grab the popcorn and your drink and sit and watch it and see where it's gonna go. So I mean,
how many classic albums he got? You think?
Numbers wise, everything that he's touched and he's done has been some type of.
Think it's classic.
From a lyrical standpoint, no.
Overall,
I would say maybe 2 are classics.
What about you?
3. The first 3.
What about you, man?
2.
What do you think?
None.
You don't think none?
I thought you said 1.
Alright.
You got come on, man.
I'll give you. I look at things different. Fact and opinion.
Right.
I just don't think it's a classic, man. I think the second album's better than the first one. I think he has classic songs. Definitely has classic songs, but I'll say the first one a classic. But I'll be lying to myself. I prefer the second album than the first one. I prefer the Great Depression over the first one, but that's me. I just went back and listened to him last year and I listened to him this past week. I'm like, I always fuck with the Great Depression album, but that first one, it's just, I guess the whole Get At Me Dog had this cinematic. It came, it was a black and white video. No one came with that type of shit, like you said, that culture. No one came with that, and it threw people off. Dior Colin didn't want to put that shit out, or Gotti begged him to put that shit out.
It changed the
landscape.
With
that, when you said impact, I'll say it's a classic.
You changed the landscape.
He changed it.
I mean,
at that time, everybody was doing the flashy rap.
I can go to that Nelly argument.
They was doing the flashy rap. It was how many diamonds, how much crystal.
Not Nelly though. Country Grammar was his album.
But it was, again, the type of music, sing-songy, very catchy. Your kids can sing that song. If your kid was singing "Get At Me Dog,"
at the time, like, I don't think Nelly. It just started. Like, I think he was one of the first people. Well, when did Country Grammar come out?
2000.
With the yeah.
But
so that was the.
Those are like polar opposites, though. If you didn't like hardcore rap, you was gonna veer towards the Nellies.
Before the DMX, Jay-Z's, I know for me, I know Manny personally, it was South rap. MGK, Tila, Suave House, Spice One, Robin Forte, DJ Quick. That's what me and my brother used to listen to in Pac.
Suave House, Rap a Lot.
And DMX put that, planted that flag back in that East Coast.
No Limit, Suave House, Rap a Lot. That was on heavy rotation.
He planted that flag back in the East Coast and made you pay attention to it.
Because Jay-Z, when Tupac and Biggie died, okay, he had so much pressure on him.
Right.
He dropped the ball with the volume.
Volume 1 was
disagree.
You making me sound like Big Draco right now.
Volume 1.
Oh my god, I hate Soulja Boy.
That was so bad.
Oh my god,
it was so bad.
I can say
no, I'm talking about because he didn't hold it down. He wanted to try to touch a commercial audience with the Joe Camel look, with the sunshine.
The throne was.
I get it. Alright, y'all, that's our show for today. DMX is probably one of my favorite shows. Support Corporate Block Entertainment. I love y'all. You guys may talk.
Tell your mama to subscribe. And tell her to tell all her church friends and all that.
Church friends. Come on down.
Talk about church and the DMX.
That's wild.
Well, everybody smash the subscribe button, smash the like button, and we appreciate all of the viewers and we appreciate all of y'all support. Peace and love. Thank you.
Follow us on IG at Corporate Like, on Twitter.
Phil Rappers 12.
You know what? Screw you.
Vote.
You can follow me, Kickagirl, KICKAGIRL, on Twitter and Instagram.
Alright, so thank you guys. We love y'all. That's it. DMX only got one classic and I'm being nice.
Man, you tripping. Hey, and he beat Jay-Z in the rap battle.
I'm being nice. I'm gonna find the footage.
And he was better than Jay at a point.